Breaking news this morning, massive job cuts at Amazon. Overnight, the company announcing it'll eliminate approximately 14,000 roles. This is the largest corporate layoff of the year, one of the largest in Amazon's history.
Amazon cut 14,000 white-collar jobs this week. Is it impacting Nashville? We're going to talk about some of the massive layoffs that have happened. In fact, we had more layoffs in October than we did all of last year on the Warren Tracker, which makes me ask the question, how would we know if this is impacting the housing market? What would we look for? Because there's one layoff in particular that I'm actually pretty concerned about. But let's first dive into Amazon. We'll look at the layoffs and then we'll go into, because it's November 1st, some key data points, and I'll explain what I'm looking for to see how this is impacting us. Okay, so if we know that Amazon laid off about 4% of their corporate workforce, and we know that corporate workforce in Nashville is about 3,000 employees, which, by the way, they've been ramping up for years now. It would be about 150 employees. They've been ramping their hiring even this year. I've talked to people who have joined the company this year. I've talked to people who are leaving Amazon to join Oracle. And so for me, 150 employees feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. This is not the layoff that concerns me. However, there are some layoffs that do concern me. Here is a list of corporate layoffs. Let's just look at 24. Okay. And we can see in just 24, we've got 1,100 layoffs in 24 announced in 2024. Okay. If we do the same thing, but we look at just 25, what are we going to see? And keep in mind, a lot of these are not reported. We're at 4,039.66. Now, if we look at just October, it's 1,200. We've had more layoff announcements in October of this year in Middle Tennessee on Warren reporting than we had all of last year in Middle Tennessee. Which one's the biggest?
Tonight, more layoffs tied to the electric vehicle industry.
General Motors announced it's cutting jobs at multiple facilities across the country. That includes 700 jobs at the Ultium battery plant in Spring Hill. A company spokesperson told us the layoffs will go into effect in January. Production should restart by mid-2026.
Supposedly this is temporary. Look, I don't know the dynamics. I just know GM is announcing a 710 employee layoff. And to me, that's concerning. We've also had HD Supply, it's a Home Depot distribution, OP Mobility, WellPath, which is, I think, reorganizing out of bankruptcy, NTT Data. It's basically tangential to the VUMC layoffs that have happened this year. Vanderbilt has been a huge source of layoffs this year, and now we're starting to see some of their vendors laying off. This is just what Warren's reporting, so you got to keep in mind there's a lot of layoffs happening, like Amazon, that aren't even on the Warren reporting tracker. And that's not to, create some mystery monster out there. It's just to say, we've got to at least acknowledge that layoffs are happening a lot more right now in Q4, and probably there's a multiplier. If we're seeing what's on Warren, we can assume that there's a lot of businesses not on Warren that are doing layoffs. In fact, if you know of one, put it in the comments. I want to know about it, because I want to know, people need to know what's happening with their economy and their local employers, and where jobs are hiring and going and where jobs are leaving. We've seen massive pain in the automobile industry this year, and it's not stopping with this GM layoff. We had Bridgestone earlier this year, which was huge in Rutherford County. I think that softened up prices in that Antioch, Rutherford area right there. Prices became very soft this year. I mean, think about it. If you don't even know if you're going to have a job, are you buying a house right now? If you were thinking about selling, are you accelerating the process to maybe sell your house if you think you're going to lose your job? Quite possibly, especially if you think the market may go down. That's something to pay attention to. By the way, it's November 1st, okay? Last year at this time, we saw 2,300 houses sell in October, okay, at a price of $490, median price of $490. This October, for single family, what do we see? It's at $2,178 on November 1st. Now, Greater Nashville refreshes this on the 5th, so I suspect this will go over 2,300. What that means is that we had more people buying houses this October than last October, and they paid way more, $515,000 versus $490 last year. That is, I know a lot of you all see prices going down, and what I think is happening, because I've seen this. I've helped buyers do this. Is I've seen buyers increase their budget because they're getting so much more value from prices coming down in certain areas. So people are buying and they're paying more. They're getting way more value, right? Values are dropping. They're buying more. Let's keep going. It's going to take 3 to 6 months, but I would think that we would see an acceleration of active listings. Okay, they've stabilized over the past 6 months. And by the way, there's 19% more active listings this year, right now, than there was last year on November 1st. If you put in an offer today, you're closing after Thanksgiving, most likely. And there's literally 1,500 more houses for sale in Middle Tennessee. If you're a seller, it feels so much slower. Now, the cool part about this, if you're a buyer, is not only is there 1,500 more options, but we're talking about demand at levels that we haven't seen since early February. This is winter demand with 1,500 more options than we had last year. And price cuts at 41%. We hit a new price cut high. This is so exciting. If you're a buyer, I mean, just be more aggressive. Just be more. There's so many more options. So many more options. Prices are going. I talked to a guy today who is interested in buying. It's a house that's priced well below what the comps are in the neighborhood, even has an assumable mortgage. I mean, there's ways to value hack. And one of the ones I've been talking about for months is waiting till the end of the year. You can also do value add, like finding a renovation or something cosmetic you can change. Third one is assumable. There are ways to value hack in a market that feels impossible. Okay, look, I know it's expensive, but there's a major opportunity for people who want to buy. I love this time of year. It's just fun. It's just fun. This time of year is fun. So I've got this on the daily charts. You can click on Murray County. What we're going to watch for in Murray are active listings skyrocketing, okay, over the next 2-3 months, maybe even a little bit pre-spring. Are we going to see active listings really move up? That will be interesting to watch. Also going to be looking at price cuts. Are price cuts higher than last year? And then contract volume. Contract volume to me, says a lot. And again, look at that. We had a lot more under contract last year at this time than we do this year. Those automobile layoffs feel much more economic. They feel cyclical. They feel recessionary. The Amazon layoff didn't feel like that to me, and it didn't feel like it's really impacting Nashville. It feels like they're growing their footprint in Nashville. They're more committed to Nashville. We're going to keep an eye on contracts because I think that's going to be the first sign that there's economic weakness. In fact, if we go back up here, we should be seeing this trend positive. Now it's flat. There's no real clear sign here, but it should be trending positive with as low as mortgage rates are compared to where they were last year. If you have some information on these layoffs or you have information on a layoff that I haven't covered, tell me in the comments. I want to hear about it. With that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching.